Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So, we're going to take a little peek at what's ahead in Taurus's love life. All right. Guys, sorry, I wanted to get you one last night, but I had to put you off until today. So, Taurus, here we go. We have this star, which is Aquarius. We have the Nine of Wands. We have the Nine of Pentacles. Couple of nines here, but we also have that. I feel like Taurus is distancing themselves from maybe even something that was painful. And I think Taurus is really embracing being single at first. They seem to be like distancing themselves from pain, healing from things, fully embracing this singlehood, and really connecting maybe more to their guide. Really feeling like they want to be more like receptive to listening to their intuition. I do feel like Taurus is doing things different when it comes to love. It looks like Taurus is saying, I'm not really after that right now. I'm just enjoying my life. Yeah, the Tower. Taurus has got a newfound sense of peace about them when it comes to their love life. If if anything that had hurt them, they've just kind of let go. They've decided that things that are going to come into their life, they'll take it, one at a time and evaluate whether or not something has merit and whether or not something should stay in their life or not. We have an Ace of Swords upright. That Ace of Swords is there's some kind of truth. I think Taurus is really good at advocating for themselves at this point. They don't have a, I don't know, like a preconceived notion of how everything's going to go. Ten of Swords. I don't think Taurus wants anything back from the past. And I don't think that they're afraid of love. But I also think that they are not afraid of what if I don't find love? Then that's okay too. Either way, we have a Taurus who's like just laying themselves bare and saying, I'm not going to block great stuff, but I'm also not going to entertain the idea that I would want anything back that I've already dealt with because there isn't anything that I want a do over with. So if I find something new, great. Or if this is the new version of me, which is I'm single and I'm wearing cute hats and traveling and taking some adorable selfies, if that's what the new me is, that's okay too. I really think this is Taurus not expecting anything out of the realm of love for right now. And maybe that's the best energy to be in, when it's just like, hey, let things come as they may. I'm not wishing, hoping, controlling, gnashing my teeth. I'm not frustrated. I'm actually good single. And if this is the way it were to stay, maybe that's how it's supposed to be. But let's take a look. Because anytime I think a character is so like brave and balanced, I always think that's usually when things do show up for a character. And are we at all surprised to see an emperor? We have an Eight of Pentacles. We have the Nine of Swords. We have the Wheel of Fortune. I do think that we either have some emperor who saw for some period of time. I know Taurus has been through the ringer. I watched them. I've seen them. I know that they went through something tough. And, I can't fix if they had a broken heart. I feel like this is somebody who has been on the outskirts of Taurus's life who noticed something that Taurus went through. But at the same time, in their mind, when there's a green light, when Taurus is healed, this is my Canada card, by the way. I always think of Canada, this mountain and lake scene. He could be possibly like Native American as well, maybe from Canada or something, or Taurus is, but it's as if he spiritually knew. Let Taurus go through the things that they need to, and when the time is right, when it seems like Taurus wouldn't mind me approaching, when they've worked through and processed what they needed to, that's hopefully I'll see it in Taurus's face. I'll see that signal and I'll be able to approach Taurus. This feels like somebody who has waited patiently, even though this is not at all what Taurus has had on their mind. We saw Taurus is like committing themselves to like, hey, if I live a single life for the rest of my life, I'll be happy. I'll explore. I'll be content with that. I'm not thinking that I even have a love life or a love story up ahead. I'm just loving being who I am because I finally walked away from things that have hurt me. But we have this emperor who's been thinking, I have a feeling that someday Taurus will come my way or will give me that, I'll say symbol or signal that I can come toward them. I have to say, I have got a deep earache in this right ear right now, and it is like running all the way into my neck. So I was out in the very, very cold and I should have had my earmuffs on, but it feels like there's this message coming in on the right ear. We have a 5 of Cups. I definitely think everything that Taurus didn't have is going to actually be a part of their life now. Taurus might have spent considerable time, like, I don't know if they sit by, in a park or out there by the banks of a river. This kind of has like a very cold, again, that lake, but kind of like a colder environment. And I'm wondering if Taurus has been out in the cold for quite a while, metaphorically and literally and figuratively. This is a character who's like, I've literally sat in the cold and contemplated, what was missing in my life, what was missing in relationships. I've also physically, gotten cold and chilly. Maybe though, if Taurus has spent time thinking somewhere outdoors, maybe that's where this emperor like met Taurus and was like, someday when I don't see that Taurus in deep thought, someday I'd like to approach them. But I can tell they're processing through something in their own mind, even though they're sitting outside. It's like they may as well be in their bed crying. They forget that they're out in public or that they're out in a park or something. I definitely feel like Taurus like cried somewhere in a park or cried outside at some point and was just, like lost in their own thoughts. I feel like that is the moment maybe this emperor saw that and was like, someday, I know not to intrude right now, but someday that Taurus, I'm going to approach, and it's going to be at a time when, I see Taurus not lost in thought and not lost in memory and not, healing themselves, but when they're ready to just comfortably, low key, no stress, look up at me and say hi and invite me to talk to them. That'll be the signal that I'm looking for when it feels like there's some reciprocity. So I think that they have just kind of like, if they bump into Taurus now and again, likely Taurus hasn't paid any attention to this person, but they've paid attention to Taurus. They've noticed, I could tell you were going through something. It doesn't have to be out in a park. This deck is very outdoorsy, so it's not like we're going to get images of, let's say Taurus goes to their favorite restaurant and, goes in to pick up food and they wait there and it's like the same server every time that rings them up. And they can tell when Taurus is just like, I'm just here to pay and leave and go home. Taurus might have been displaying some of that. Humans are good at sensing what other humans are going through because we've all been there. You can always tell when somebody is shut down because they're going through something tough and they don't want to talk and they're not really paying attention to you. They're just here to, buy the food and go home. And then you can also tell someday when I can tell they're in a better mood, I'm going to try to flirt with that person. That kind of is how this is laid out for this emperor. They've noticed Taurus has been solo for a while. They knew Taurus was processing something, and they also promised themselves one fine day, I'm going to connect to this Taurus when I get the symbol that they would be okay with connecting with me as well. And I feel like this particular emperor, for whatever reason, they already have this inkling. Taurus is going to be important in my life. Hang on. What made you kind of notice Taurus or fall for Taurus a little bit? Strength card. I don't know if Taurus is really nice to animals and they witness that, or if Taurus has a cat, or if there's something about Taurus where they just could tell that there's a real strength. Sometimes when we're dealing with wounds is also when we show our greatest strength, when we're processing things and it's like, I'm mentally having to cope with a lot, but that also is sometimes the moments where somebody admires us the most for the strength that we're showing. We have the Star and we have that Ace of Wands sideways. Again, Taurus was already associated with the Star at the very beginning, right? I wonder if either Taurus said something nice and doesn't even know it. Taurus could have actually talked to this emperor and said something that was very thought-provoking. It might have been something that they, again, if Taurus was healing, sometimes we have very um, meaningful and truthful things that pop into our head when we are processing something. And sometimes we are able to give other people that, you know, support or that non-judgmental, like I almost feel like Taurus made this emperor feel okay about themselves or feel good about themselves at some point. And Taurus, it might have been an offhanded comment. Taurus may have no memory of this, yet that emperor remembers it because it says there was something here that Taurus either for a moment did say something that was really kind, that was very loving, or they witnessed Taurus do that for someone else, or some act of kindness for somebody. Whatever it was, they saw Taurus do something or say something. And I think that's when they fell for Taurus. It's like, I can tell that they're hurting, but there's still somebody who believes in like love and healing and, you know, everyone has worth and value. And even when you're exhausted from something, brighter days are ahead. That kind of tenacity is something that I think they noticed right away in Taurus. And of course, an emperor would love that, right? Because an emperor is going to be the same. Emperors don't have some perfectly easy life, but what they do have is the intention, the desire, and the commitment to say, no matter what happens, I'm going to, get through this and I'm going to continue to build something better. And so I think seeing that grit in Taurus, that was something that really sealed the deal for them that they like this Taurus. I feel like we have been telling the story of a very heroic Taurian. Like they had plenty stacked against them. They had plenty of things that hurt. But instead of letting it crush them and grind them to the dust, this particular Taurus said, nope, I'm going to go ahead and heal. I don't know what comes next. I'm not going to plan on some, fabulous love story up ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and be happy with who I am and not put pressure on myself to, I've got to find out who the next best romantic partner is. No, Taurus isn't seeking anyone, but they're also happy completely where they are because they made themselves, they reinvented themselves into this happy version of themselves. But while doing so, that's when they caught the eye of this emperor. And I think that's what I love about it because basically Taurus's own inner emperor energy, that determination, that classiness, that sophisticated thought process is exactly why they're attracting somebody who's an emperor. Because Taurus is that same quality. How's this emperor? How are you going to approach? I know you said you're looking for that symbol. You'll notice when Taurus is okay to pay attention to you and have, a dialogue back and forth. We have 4 of Pentacles. We have 7 of Cups. They haven't figured that out yet. They'll figure out their opening line, or they'll ask Taurus out on a date when the moment arrives. And this hasn't arrived yet. Remember, this storyline was what's ahead for Taurus. And this truly hasn't played out yet for our character. That's probably why the Emperor is like, I'm saving up some really great ideas of restaurants I'd like to go to, and I'm saving up some ideas of things I'd love to do with Taurus the day that maybe it becomes possible. 10 of Wands. They too are like, I'm not going to stress. I'm going to trust that our lives will intersect, the paths will intersect when it's the right time. And can we just turn to the universe then and say, universe, is that coming? Oops, hang on. We got 2 decks trying to merge here. Will we have a time where Taurus and this person are going to be able to connect? Yes. Page of Swords says, and this could primarily be the Emperor keeping tabs a little bit on Taurus, watching for the symbols, listening to their guides. But let's not forget, we have Chariot, we have the Tower, and we have that 5 of Coins. Actually, this could be Taurus who identifies or looks up and notices this Emperor. Because remember, Taurus was the first one with their little bird. And here's that bird on the shoulder again. That was a 9 of Pentacles for Taurus, and now that Page of Swords. I almost think whenever Taurus encounters this person again, this Emperor, it could actually be Taurus says, oh, hey, I think I've seen you before. something like that. Like Taurus could actually break the ice, not because they're like, ooh, hubba hubba, I wonder if this is going to be my next person. But I almost feel like maybe Taurus and this person are going to pull up side by side and park their cars like at the park or something. And it's going to be like, oh, you, didn't I see you here before? I think I've seen you walking before. Taurus might break the ice. Taurus might be the person, because remember, Taurus is like, I'm not worried about whether relationship comes in or not. So I could see how it would be very comfortable where Taurus just basically opens up the dialogue and allows this emperor to respond to them. I think it's Taurus doing it. Not because they have this preconceived notion that, oh my gosh, I think this person's really important. I think it's going to feel very natural, very serendipitous. I don't know at all that Taurus is going to have this inkling that, like, hey, that person's hot. I think they like me. None of that. This is just too relaxed and too comfortable because keep in mind, Taurus doesn't care. However things are going to go is how it's going to go. That's the beauty of this story, is that our Taurus healed and is truly content in their life, regardless of how things go, particularly in the love front, because they actually are in a good space in themselves. But it's ironic that I think it's going to be Taurus who breaks the ice with an emperor who has had Taurus on their mind a lot. So kind of something nonchalant that for Taurus, but it's not nonchalant for them. That's the green light they've needed. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this one here. Take care. Lots of love. By the way, I should say I did picture Taurus and this emperor like parking side by side, like in a parking lot at a park overlooking some water feature. So lake, man-made lake, natural lake or river. I don't know. Didn't seem like the ocean though. All right, take care. Bye, guys. I have to go eat dinner.